What's up, y'all? This is Dr. Craig Waleed, your host here on the Prison to Promise podcast, where I explore strategies formerly incarcerated people use to avoid returning to prison. On this episode, I'm joined by none other than the good brother, Mr. Carl Scott, also known as Cee Scott. After serving two prison sentences, he went on to earn a master's degree in psychology with an emphasis on life coaching. Today, C serves as the fatherhood coordinator at Healthy Baby Network in Rochester, New York. I invite you to listen to the jewels this brother reveals through the telling of his story about how he figured out how to stop going to prison and in C's own words, made it in the hood and not out of the hood. Okay. Okay, so there we go, man. And so, today I got with me brother Cee Scott out of Rochester, New York. Um, Me and C go back to the old town. C, you still in Rochester. I done left Rochester, but I remember you from back in the days, from maybe when we were like in our early teens, late teens, running around the same streets. I don't think we ever hung out, but we knew a lot of the same people, And then I think in the 90s, I looked up, I'm in New York State Prison, and here you come walking through. And I think we was in the same penitentiaries for a little while before one of us got out and the next one got out. And so,
Definitely.
and so with that being said, man, I want to just ask you or invite you to maybe tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your background, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha. Okay, how y'all doing out there? My name is Carl Scott. Everybody call me Cee Scott from Rochester, New York. I'm 50. My birthday is actually in the next week, sometime the 10th. Um,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'll be 51. I'm an Aries. Shout out to all the Aries, out there. We here, so okay. But yeah, I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm from the West Side, and I'm from some streets called Jefferson and Bartlett. This is where I grew up. This is where I hustled at. This is where actually I made a name for myself, in the city from that little area. Not that I'm proud of the name that I had made, but from then it's just that everything happens for a reason. And my reasoning is, I was in the streets to see, and I see a lot of things that a young man shouldn't have to see. Growing up in the streets, I come from NWA time, so
Absolutely.
it was just the start of all everything that everybody with right now. I was there when it all basically started, and it's been hard. It's I ain't gonna say a hard life for me. I'm saying it's been a teaching life for me. I never lost. I learned from everything that happened to me,
Absolutely.
and I did my time in the streets. I hustled. I'm not gonna glorify it. You know what I'm saying? Took me to prison twice.
Yeah.
My first bid was 4 years. My second bid was five and a half years, yes, out of 7 year bid. And I came home in 2010. Before I left, I was trying to get out the streets, but I guess it was a little too late for me. At that time, I had to go through what I had to go through. So I went through, ended up with 7 years in prison. And at that time, there was a young fella in there, younger than me, in prison, and he was in college. And I was going through what I was going through, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it because I see how he's studying. And his name, he's from Rochester, New York. His name is Benjamin Flanders. He's an inspiration to me because he's the one that really pointed me toward that way. He said, it ain't hard, it ain't hard. Okay, cool. So he told me to go take the entry exam. So And so I contacted the counselor and I, signed up for the entry exam. So I went and I took the entry exam for college, and I passed everything but the writing. And they gave me, instead of telling me I had to do everything over because they were so impressed with everything else, they told me to come back and take the writing, and they gave me the instructions of how they expected it to be. So in that time, I was in my associates. So all they basically wanted was the setup of
Mhm.
how it was, the heading, the body,
Structure
everything.
of the paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and when I learned that, it was a wrap. I was in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so my first class was, arts, art history. I got an A. So that turned me on to school right there, because
Mhm.
when I was in junior high, I wasn't in the school.
Yeah.
So I ain't go to school. I ain't go to high school. I went to school high. That was a saying, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. 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 Which rapper said that?
I can't recall.
Yeah. 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 We up there in age now. You can't
Yeah,
remember all them things.
definitely. So it actually it was Method Man and Red Man on How High.
That's right. That's
So
right.
that was it. So yeah, so I did all that. I went, did my associates through the prison system. Not to cut, sometimes I lose my train of thought and I jump over here and there.
It's all good.
You know, not to jump, but I did my associate starting from my influence was Benjamin Flanders from
Mhm.
Rochester, New York, good brother. And
Mhm.
so I got an A in my first class. Then from there I just went on and I graduated magna cum laude in my associates. And I was one of them that didn't like school.
Yeah.
And so, and once I came home in 2010, finished at Canisius.
Okay. Canisius
Yes,
College. Yeah.
yes. And so, and what it was I finished, and a year later, I got bored.
So were you in a Wyoming correctional facility or Attica or somewhere?
It was Wyoming. That's where we was together.
Okay.
That's where we was together.
Okay.
So, and I came home from there 2010, March 11th, 2010, and I finished my school. I just, I finished my school, got my degree, my
Mhm.
associate,
Mhm.
graduated in honors.
Yeah.
And a year later, I got bored. I had idle time because I was working for what 850, 950, or whatever it was,
Mhm.
1150 at that time. And I'm like, this ain't making it. And I'm not trying to go back to the streets.
Right.
I'm not trying to turn back. So I turned back to school. I got bored and went back to school and got my bachelor's.
Mhm.
So, and then once I graduated 2015 with my bachelor's, I had, little upgrade in pay, but I'm like, this ain't it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now I'm bored again.
Yeah.
So I turned around and went back and got my master's in
Yeah.
psychology
Yeah.
with the emphasis on life coaching.
Nice.
So I'm like, I said, yeah, this is this. I'm feeling this, and
Mhm.
so got a job, got a decent job, and I liked the work that I was doing. I was, they was the community. They hired a community, putting back the community in the work in the community. I worked for ABC at first.
Yeah. Action
After,
for a better community.
yeah, and so after I was a parent partner, credible messenger. And after I left from there. I went to Urban League as a reentry counselor.
Mhm.
So I was there for 2 years, and I had the chance to apply for a leadership position in Healthy Baby Network, the
Yeah.
fatherhood coordinator.
Yeah.
And they were quite impressed at what I was doing and, the passion I had. And so they gave me a chance, and that's where I'm at right now. And,
Good stuff.
coming from where we sat down and talked in the yard, what I'm saying, on the weight benches and all
Yeah.
that, to us talking, via you over there, I'm over here, and Zoom and everything is just fantastic. It's great.
Absolutely, man. And it's a testament to time and what can happen over time. And
Yes,
you said some things, man, that if I could go back, and one of the things, you mentioned your birthday's coming up.
yes.
You'll be
Go
50.
ahead.
You mentioned you'll be 51, I just turned 51 last August. I'll be 52 this August. And so
Okay.
one of the things I'm thinking about is so many of the cats that grew up in our neighborhood, because I'm from Magnolia and Genesee Street, you from Bartlett or Jefferson. So we're right around the corner from each other. And think about how many cats from that era haven't made it to 50 years old, haven't made it to 55, and we still here, still relatively healthy, still relatively look well, So I look at it as a blessing.
I do too.
Yeah.
I get the why you ain't got grays in your beard. But I was like, if you get closer to me, you'll see the grays in there.
Yeah.
Get all that.
And so, you talked about, at a young age, you ended up in the streets, and then you ended up in the penitentiary. And then while you were in the penitentiary, you start going to school. How do you think school helped to change your outlook about yourself and about your future, and about even the stuff that you were doing that got you in prison?
Well, school was, when I was younger, coming up through elementary school, I was basically on top of everything. I was a straight student. And once I hit junior high school, it was a wrap. I got a taste of the girls in the streets. It was a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
But, I wasn't in the school, and I just fell into that category of adolescent that, was just disruptive. And so what I did was I said, you know what? I wasn't really into the streets at that time, so I tried to go into the Navy.
Yeah.
So I dropped out of high school and had my recruiter and everything, and I was scheduled to go into the Navy, but I was disqualified and disappointedly disqualified in the med portion of it in Buffalo, because they said I had a cataract in my left eye, which was dry blood.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it was disappointment. So that turned me into, I didn't want to go back to school, so I turned to the streets.
Yeah.
So, I was in the streets for years. But once I got to jail, the second bid, the first bid, I went to jail and came back to the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Within a week of me being released, my first bid, I was back in the streets.
What were you thinking during your first bid that allowed you to go right back to the streets when you got out?
I was young and dumb, and I'm looking at the TVs, I'm looking at, everything that I left, thinking about everything that I left behind, and thinking about, my thought was, I'm going to get what I left behind,
mm-hmm.
And, not thinking of like tomorrow is not promised, or, it's just, I understand these young kids' thoughts.
Yeah.
And because I had the same thoughts, and this is one of the reasons why I went in psychology, is because of the thoughts that I was having at the time. And I was trying to wonder and trying to figure out why, and I had to relearn a lot of things that was actually taught, but were rescaled when you went to college and everything. And so you socialize different from different environmental spaces, and being socialized in school is one of your first, and home, and then being making that transition to the street and around those who mean good, but you know what I'm saying, just want to teach you or use you, the wrong way. And then you having a what is it, epiphany. I don't know if that's exactly what I had when I was in jail, but I seen that I didn't want to live like that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to work in a factory all my life.
That's real stuff. Nothing wrong with working in a factory, but that's not what you want.
No, right. But I seen a few things that, I knew I was smarter than this dummy that was telling me what to do, and I'm trying to explain to him and help him, and instead, being that we was different colors, he still talked down to me. And so I'm like, so I held my composure for a while, and then it was just a wrap. I mean, I'm like, man, this ain't gonna work. So I had to leave that position. And I'm like, because I'm not a dummy. I was actually in school at the time, and I'm telling them, like, you're not gonna keep talking to me like that.
Right.
So one day, he was talking to me, and I was like, you know what? We need to go outside and talk. That man said, no, we don't, and jetted straight to his office.
Yeah.
So, you
He
know,
knew what time it was.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
he was ready to box him up.
exactly. But, you know, that's a different time. And I just,
Yeah.
my life was really, I knew it was headed for different.
Yeah.
And different and bigger and better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what it was, I wasn't, Kenny Braswell said it the best. He said, you, some of us are working for our peace, and some of us are working for our payroll.
Mm.
So as an older gentleman, I already worked for my payroll.
Yeah.
You know, so now as I'm older, it's not all about the money. Do I deserve what I get? Yeah. Do I want, you know, and you know, do I think I deserve more? Yeah. But will I pursue it that way? No, because I'm at peace.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm happy. I get up. I'm happy. I get up proud to go to work.
Yeah.
And I like what I do versus getting up, having to go listen to this person tell me what to do and what not to do at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not a morning person. So,
so you get to call your shots to some degree.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and you know, it's interesting, your story too, some of the things that you shared, man, about your academic pursuits, as well as about your attempts to go to the military. It is very similar to my own. You know, like coming out of high school, we moved off of Magnolia, Tennessee when I was 13, and we moved to Henrietta. And I ended up graduating high school out there, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I ended up enrolling in the Navy, enrolled in the Marines. Couldn't make it in the Marines because I had caught too many assault charges. And then so I enrolled in the Navy. And the Navy is like, we don't want you, because I pissed dirty when I was in the Navy. So I came home and sort of like you, I just kind of spiraled out of control. Before you know it, I was getting high, I was fighting, I was robbing, I was stealing. Before you know it, I'm in prison. You know, but like you, I realized I'm smart. I don't need to be in this place. And I don't need to live towards what happens to most people that come into these places. And what I realized also being in prison is that the vast majority of cats that's in prison are smart.
Very.
You know,
very
smart.
I mean, if we had in my class, the one of the gentlemen graduated with what's the highest grade point average you graduated with?
4.0.
I think he had a little higher than 4.0.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Wow. So summa cum laude, yo, I'm telling you, he was, you know, when we was in prison and he graduated, they wanted him as soon as he got out to come to the school.
Nice.
You know.
Nice.
But then you got to think about it. You know, this brother, God bless the dead, went back to the streets. Mm-hmm. Everybody ain't, you know what I'm saying, equipped to handle certain things. Yeah. And
sometimes folks don't have those supports either sometimes.
True. And I don't know what type of struggles he had going home. Yeah. But then, you know, I heard he OD and I felt sorry because he was an inspiration. He was the one that I had to go to. I gotta type this paper. It's a 5-page paper. You know, me and him, I'm like this. Right. So I had to go get him some cigarettes for him to type the paper up. Yeah, me. You write it and he type it. Yeah, so I can have it in time, because it'd take me 3 days to type a paper. Yeah. And we had to do it on a typewriter. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, a typewriter. Y'all didn't even have the word processor available. So yeah, he was a blessing. So, you know, I felt bad. Yeah, and there's a lot of brothers in prison right now. Got some of the most talented basketball players. You know what I'm saying? The most talented accountants, the most talented instructors. Yeah. That they all just took a wrong turn. But you know, the prisons, and not necessarily all of them took a wrong turn. I just say, you know, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah. And some of them just probably didn't have the structure to help them make the right decisions too. You know, I think one of the things that's really big in prison that a lot of people don't acknowledge is poverty. A lot of men who are in prison, they come from impoverished backgrounds. So they wasn't always food secure, and didn't always have lights on and heat on and all of that. And sometimes I think things like that drive decisions that become criminal decisions, but it's really just an effort to survive.
you know.
Right.
But that may not be everybody. That might just be a small percentage of them.
Yeah, because you got some brothers that never had to go to the streets.
Right.
Come from a two-family home, parents a doctor, parents a lawyer, never had to, but end up a gangster in the street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because like I would love to be able to sit down and really now at this point in time in my age and my education to really be able to talk to some of these brothers that never had to go to the street but chose to.
Yeah.
Ended up where they was, where they was at.
Yeah, absolutely.
I come from, my mother, God bless the dead. I lost my mother and my father. So, I'm without.
Yeah.
So, but my mother growing up, I was mad because I was the middle child. God bless dad. My little brother passed on his motorcycle. So, it's been crazy. So, and this was back in the day. So, but when I was growing up, I was a middle child. My older sister got what she wanted because she was the oldest and the female.
Yeah.
And things she needed. So, and then my little brother got what he wanted because he was the youngest, he was the baby. So I was stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'm that mad child. Like, why, but as I got older,
everybody.
Right. But as I got older and I turned to the streets, I was like, my mother actually did the best she could with what she had. So with that anger, I had to turn that into, I'm in the streets now, I got a few dollars. Here go mom, here you go, mom. You know what I'm saying? Here you go. What you doing, that you can give me? Don't worry about it. We good. Right, you know what I'm saying? Here you go. So, we got to, as kids growing up, these kids, there's a disconnect right now. That, the respect, the admiration, they don't look at the parents the same that we looked at ours.
Yes, different.
Yeah, and because when my mother and my father, somebody elder, not even just my mother, somebody elder told me to be quiet or shut up, I'll be quiet, shut up.
Right.
I had even an experience with my one of my children. I'm telling them to be quiet. They just getting louder. I'm telling them to shut up now. They getting louder, like, yo, you got to go.
Yeah.
Because before I, do something that I, because you're not gonna sit in my house. So I'm like, nah, you got to go. Yeah, I will. Okay, go ahead before I knock your head off the shoulder.
Right. And then I regret it and you regret it.
Exactly.
Yo, so tell me this, man. See, when you got out of prison the second time, it sounds like you had your head on in a different direction and you were trying to get your life in order at this point.
Yes, because when I was locked up, I actually held conversations with a bunch of brothers, and don't get me wrong, a couple of the COs.
Yeah.
They was telling me, they was putting me on the businesses that they was, they roofing business, this and that. And this is just the conversations we was having. And so Mr. Scott, so what you thinking about doing when you get home? You coming back to us?
They always say that.
I was like, nah, because this is the second time I was with y'all, because this was my second bid in that jail with these officers.
Wow.
So I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to get my credit right. I'm going to finish school. I might even go for my bachelor's, this and that. And it's like, all right. So I asked, and then the people, just like the people now, when I came home, there's certain people I couldn't be around because anything they did, I would have been with. Right. So I decided that, I'll see you here and there, but I just couldn't be with that because I got too much to lose.
Right.
I had 5 years post release when I came home. I ain't want to go back.
Right.
So I did what I had to do. I stayed there. They told me, and I had good PO. So my PO told me, if you want to do something, just let me know so I can cover my ass.
Right. That penitentiary time hurt, man.
Definitely. And the worst thing to do is come home and be idle, have idle time.
Yeah. The old timers used to talk about that. The devil's workshop is idle time, idle mind.
Exactly. So when you got that idle time, you think about different things, and you try to think that I could do this and get away with it. Nah, you got to do things that you comfortable. Even just if it's going to the library to look up something, like you did it when you was in jail, you went to the law library.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
You
a
know,
cat
even if
said,
it's
go ahead, go ahead.
no, finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, a cat said to, I remember a cat came into the penitentiary. I think it was Wyoming before I got out, and he was talking about how he had been out for like 5 years or 10 years, and because he was programming still, he was still programming in the street like he was programming in prison, still going to the library, still on schedule, still doing things that will keep him in place instead of out of place. You know?
Right. So he knew the structure.
Yeah.
He used this structure that he was comfortable with, and he brought it home and used it to help him, not to hurt him. See, a
Right.
lot of brothers, that structure, they, like me, that structure I did not like. I don't like to be told when to eat, sleep, and use the bathroom. So, my first thing when I came home was 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm outside walking up and down the street just to, look up at the sky. Like, I ain't been out
Yeah.
like this time
Yeah.
for a long time to where I
Yeah.
could walk. I walk to the corner, look down the street, I'm like, man, yeah, this is where I need to be. This is where I'm comfortable.
Yeah,
I'm not
freedom.
comfortable sleeping in a bunk bed or sleeping next in a cube next to 59 others.
Absolutely, or in a cell or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So who or what were like some of your main supports when you got out? Like what really helped you get your footing right once you got out? Were there like certain people, certain events, what was the structure like for you?
My structure, when I came home, I got with my ex. Got with her. She was my structure that really, because of her job and where I was coming from, I couldn't embarrass her or do some shit that costed her job.
Right.
So I had to stay in that structure to where, and I commend, that's the one thing I still love her for, is because if anything, she could say she kept me out, she kept me home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I wasn't with her, I think I'd have probably violated and been back, because I'd have been someplace where I wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I changed that. I did a lot of change. Like I said, if my thing was, if you ain't got nothing to lose, I'm not hanging with you. We not,
Right.
I see you out and speak. You can speak, have a drink, out. But no, I'm not coming to get you. You're not coming to get me, because once something happened, and you ain't got nothing to lose, and I got everything to lose. It's a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The research says that if you got family, that is a protective factor to help you stay out of prison. If you got close friends and associates that are not getting into trouble, that's another protective factor. And then there's one that corrections has known for a long time, which is, people who are locked up, who do well in vocational and academic training, they have a lesser chance of coming back to prison. And so, that makes me wonder, why don't they have more robust programs for vocational and educational training in prisons?
Because it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
It's structured that way, it's designed that way.
Yeah.
But right now, it's open and everybody can see. So now they trying to restructure it. Yeah. Now it's on the table where they about to put the colleges back in the institution.
Yeah,
and if they would have never took them out, you'd have brothers that's coming out with degrees that, with the smarts, and you know what I'm saying, to know, okay, so I can go over here now. You know what I'm saying? Versus coming out with nothing, like, man, I ain't working at no McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So it's a win-win, but then it's a lose-lose, because they lose revenue, because it's going to reduce recidivism.
Right.
And so they lose revenue. Like, they had to close these jails down because there wasn't enough prisoners.
Right. And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's supposed to be a good thing.
Because most of them come from our communities.
Yeah. So then you had these small towns where these jails are, talking about some you closing the jails. Oh, it's gonna hurt our community. Oh, this is where our revenue come from. So what they really saying is, y'all need to stop these jails back up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How
But
about
then at
that?
the same time, you got to ask, stock them up with who?
Right.
Like what? What? So now you telling, now you saying that you want to be the same thing that was happening beforehand to happen again. And but it's not gonna happen because there's too many cameras, too much, the ability to like you where you at. I'm in New York, you down, you in the, I'm jealous, but you down. So, we can still communicate.
Absolutely.
Oh, before there was no communication but through mail or phone.
Right.
So
right.
This is open. There's no more hiding.
Right. It's open now. And
yeah.
There's this movement called decarceration. They're trying to decarcerate, trying to lessen the amount of people that's in prison. And then, it makes me think about, what is it, the 13th Amendment that talks about, slavery is abolished in this country, except when somebody is convicted of a felony,
It was yes, and it's modern day jail is modern day slavery.
Yes,
don't
sir.
get me wrong, because they force you to work for a dime.
Yeah, 11
cents.
Yeah.
22 cent was the highest. Was the highest level you can get.
You balling.
You can buy some deodorant. You can buy some, what I'm saying, and some peanut butter and jelly.
Yo, it used to kill me, see, when I saw dudes go home and then they would come back and then maybe go home and come back again. And every time they come back, they was like, yo, let me get some deodorant. Let me get some soap. Let me get some soup. And I'm like, damn, you had Wegmans and Walmart and all these other stores that were out back then. You could have, got you a little panhandling job, something, a little squeegee job, something, anything.
Bro, you have way more than back with no money.
Nothing. And toe up. So
what is you doing? What did you go home to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's important. What are you doing? What's your why?
You went to home to do the wrong thing. That's why you back with nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's your own fault. But don't get me wrong. I bless you. You know what I'm saying? Here you go.
Yeah.
But other than that, man,
you come back.
Yeah, because you come back again, I ain't got nothing for you because
I'm still here. I'm trying to live, right. What do you think?
Hold up. And you left again, came back, and ain't sent me nothing while you was in the street.
Not even a stamp, yo.
Right, but now you asking for something.
Yeah. I had a friend from high school like that. He was in and he went home. He was like, yo, I'm gonna write you, I'm gonna send you some money, yada yada, hoopty hoop. And like maybe a year later, he coming back on a violation. Yo, what's up, C? Yo, can I get some? I'm like, man, I can't help you, man. You said you're gonna write me. I'm looking forward to that. You said you're gonna send me something. No, bro, you busted. And then he still went home before me. And then when I finally got home, he was toe up. He was basically panhandling, panhandling, looking dusty and scrappy.
A lot of brothers' minds ain't equipped for jail.
True. And even if it is, man, you and I know them places break people down. Not many people come out of there the same, especially if they end up in the box or something.
Especially if they ain't got no support.
Right. That's the biggest piece. That
if you got support, you can make it through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be a little messed up, but you can make it through. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got no support, you at the will of the jail.
That's true. And then you need that support when you come out too. You know, but at the end of the day, you got to have your mind made up. Like you were talking about you had your mind made up. You wanted to do something different. You didn't want to go backwards. You wanted to go forward,
Right, because my whole life, every time I took 3 steps back, forward, I had to take 2 steps back. But the whole thing is, as my favorite saying is, I never lost, I learned.
Yeah, I like that.
If I took 3 steps forward and had to take 2 steps, I'm still a step above forward from where I was at.
Absolutely.
So I still used that. I still learned something from that.
Absolutely.
So now when I take 3 more steps and have to come back 2 steps, I'm still going to be another step further where I'm at. So I'm never going to be left behind because I'm learning as I go.
Absolutely.
So now I take 3 steps and I only have to take 1 because I done learned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then I get to where I'm trying to get to where I take 3 steps and I ain't got to look back.
Right on. And the best lessons are learned hard sometimes,
Definitely. I mean, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have the lessons I went through.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would still be in the street, if I would have never got knocked off, if I would still be in the street struggling, never going, not struggling, but because everything changes, but not, if I would have still been in the streets, not with no education, but just a ability to get money,
Yeah.
and still have to look over my back and all that.
And you could probably look around the way at some of the cats that's still doing that.
And still looking, and don't get me wrong, still looking over their shoulder.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, I get invited over to a house and see, I'll come see, get in there like, hold up, bro. This window boarded up. This a trap?
Yeah.
This my trap. Nah, man, I'm out of here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I'm out of here.
In large part, that's why I left the area, man, to get away from all that I was familiar with, man.
Right.
Start over, sort of like a plant. When you take a plant out of an old pot, put it in another pot, and you move it in another room, it tend to grow a little more.
And that's what that worked for you. So that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Me, I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Because most
you still repotted yourself, so
exactly.
to speak. You still
repotted. I ain't make it out the hood. I like to think I made it in the hood.
Yeah.
And I used the networking, and though not everything it's not everything is about what you know, is who you know.
Always.
So I have a lot of good friends, a lot of friends that point me in the right direction, a lot of friends that have bent over backwards. I got a lot of friends, a lot of support.
People have seen your evolution too.
Yes.
And they know you serious about this thing.
Exactly.
Because they saw you when you was doing the 1-2 thing, and now they see you doing this thing. So you authentic is what I like to call it, authentic. So people gonna always gravitate to authentic dudes like you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt. Couple more questions I got for you, man. And this is like for these young cats who are going to prison, coming out of prison, and whatnot. But what do you think was like one of the biggest obstacles you faced getting out of prison, coming back to the community? And how did you work around or through that big obstacle that you faced? Be it one obstacle or a million?
The biggest obstacle that I faced coming home from prison was myself, my pride. That was the obstacle. I couldn't get away from, I always complained, but I always complained to myself though, because I would never complain to nobody else, because I could, because it's always somebody in a worse off position, and I never make light of nobody's situation,
right,
but my own. So I complained to myself. So I'm not in competition with nobody but myself. I try to be better than who I was yesterday.
Right on.
But I'm not trying to be better than the man that's standing next to me.
Right.
I'm not trying to be. What I'm saying is, I'm not in competition with him.
Right. I'm with you.
So it was, my obstacle was myself, telling myself I can't do it. I can't do it. And then turn around, I have to do it. So it was ups and downs. Like my bachelor, I almost quit. And if it wasn't for my support system and my tutor, I was gonna quit at my bachelor's, because it came at a bad time, because I was engaged to get married, but it didn't go through. So my whole mindset was here and there, and I just didn't want to. The struggle was real. I had demons that I had to fight, and instead of fighting them, I made friends with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can talk to them now.
Yeah.
And I can, more or less, I'm the influence now, not the demon.
Yeah.
Is there a beast still trying to get out? Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
But I'm the head one in charge. Whereas when I was younger, it wasn't. It was the demon.
Yeah. And they were running your life.
So we had to make, I had to make come to terms with that. So I made friends with the demon.
Nice. So what I'm hearing is for the young cats, you got to understand yourself, understand your ups and your downs, and be willing to work through that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can think it's a different obstacle, and all the time it's yourself.
Yeah.
because you're stumbling over your own feet, and it's no. But what you're doing is you're projecting your feelings or your emotions onto something else or onto somebody else.
Yeah.
And once you learn to deal, a lot of these kids did never learn to deal with their own emotions, within themselves.
Yeah.
They come out wrong. And
Yeah.
once they learn to deal with themselves and where they satisfied, stop trying to live out your means. Once you're satisfied with yourself, then you can live within your means.
Yeah.
Live within your means and not without your means.
Not without your means. That's a heavy piece, man. And, I think a lot of being able to live with oneself or recognize oneself in today's society is such a challenge because of all of the distractions we have, primarily these phones and, social media and, just the way the world is today. I think it's difficult for people to pay attention to themselves. But at the end of the day, that's what we got and that's what we need is that self-awareness, that self-knowledge, I think. So, thanks for that piece, man. That was definitely something to put in the pipe and smoke. You heard?
Definitely.
So what are you doing nowadays? I know you talked just a little bit about, your job. You're working with ABC, I think, and the Father's Initiative or something.
No. I'm a fatherhood coordinator over at Healthy Baby Network.
Okay.
She was my first job. Then I moved to Urban League. Now I'm at Healthy Baby Network. Okay. I'm attracted to not-for-profits.
Right on.
They work with the community, and that's where I need to be.
Absolutely.
And different aspects on different grounds. I work on, I work with the whole community. But right now, the gear is toward fathers with young fathers, older fathers with new kids.
Okay.
Trying to be a better father, going through, trying to allot them the services that they allow the women to have.
Yeah.
And then the fathers don't know that they entitled to these services as well.
Right.
And I advocate for them in court, child support court, wherever, if whatever I can do for a brother, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make a better brother out the brother.
Good. And brothers need brothers.
Right. My mistake. I shouldn't have said that. I'm not trying to make anybody better than who they are. I'm trying to help them make themselves better. Because then I'd be taking on their problems and their position, and I can't do that.
Right.
Help you through it.
Just help them refine themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we need each other.
I'll be known as an enabler. Because then they wouldn't learn from it. They'd just, try to escape through it. And that's not why I'm here.
Yeah. Digging. Thanks for sharing that. So would you say that this job gives you purpose, or is there some other things that you do today that gives you purpose?
Nah, honestly, not to sound sarcastic, but waking up in the morning and breathing gives me purpose. Come
on, man. Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
That's great, man.
So this job, it just makes it that much better.
Yeah.
When you love your job, you love what you do.
Yeah.
It's not about the money anymore. It's about your peace. And well, it's always gonna be about money because you gotta survive.
Right.
It's about your peace. Once you get to where you at peace, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole different feel.
Yeah.
And this job makes me feel peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives me a euphoria of knowing that I help somebody. Just I'm helping not just that person, but that extension of the person, which is the person's child.
Right. And maybe even other aspects of their family and the community.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was listening to a brother today say something about when you give a formerly incarcerated person a job with a living wage, you're not just employing that person, but you're also helping that person's family and that person's community because they bring that money back into their community and they circulate it in their community. So it's always a staggering effect.
Also, it takes his mind out of having nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Now he got a purpose, a livable wage. Now he got to think like, well, if I lose this, I got to go back to working for whatever they give me.
Yeah.
This is a livable wage. So I'm going to do what I can, to stay out the way and do my job.
And I think most brothers want a job with a living wage. I don't think brothers want to necessarily hustle and throw
Right.
bricks.
Right.
You know?
The whole thing is they want it given to them.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing given to you okay, so you just not gonna be the one is given to. You know, not everybody is handed. No, everybody doesn't get something handed to them.
Right.
You know, there are people that get something dropped in their lap. You know, a gift, but you know, the majority of people don't have that.
True indeed.
So, and what it is they don't want to do the footwork to get it.
Yeah.
You know? And COVID messed all that up. Started giving them money, throwing money away. And if COVID never hit, we wouldn't even be talking about don't nobody want to work.
Right. You
know, shortage of workers.
Right. There's more jobs now than it is workers.
Yeah, you know, but now it's a worker's market. So now a worker doesn't have to really, you know, they don't have to degrade themselves or just take anything. You know, because there's so many jobs out there. But are you that person that's marketable like that?
Right, you still have to be marketable.
Are you that person that can afford to say no to this job because you know that this job gonna want you? If you're not that person, then you can't take that chance.
And then, do you have what it takes to keep a job?
Exactly. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, in closing, Cee, you know, is there any piece of wisdom and insight that you could share for someone as far as it goes to maybe staying out of trouble or staying out of prison, or even for, say, a family member that's trying to support somebody that's trying to stay out of trouble or stay out of prison?
One thing is, I'm gonna tell you a couple of things, because the reason why there's a lot of information not given, those coming home and those trying to stay home don't know a lot of information that's out there that they should know. So with that being said, they're gonna have to do their due diligence and find out, because not everybody is going to tell you. If you go into a store and they got one thing right here that's $10, and they got the same thing over here that's $30, and you go over here to the $30 one, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna let you buy that $30 one instead of telling you it's a $10 one. So with that being said, you got to change the way you think. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, okay, I see a $30 one. Before I purchase this, let me look around and see if there's anything else. Just don't go straight for something, because it's not always as, you know, good as what it seems. You know, you can buy that $30, that could be your last $30.
Yeah.
And then you walk past and be like, oh, I could have got this for 10, and say, oh, can I bring this back? And they be like, no. Yeah. All sales are final.
Right. No refunds, Jack.
Right. So with that being said, to survive in these streets, my advice would be, I survived in the hood. I never wanted to make it out the hood. I never wanted to buy a house where, whatever. I wanted to, own property in the hood, still in my neighborhood. And that's what I did, and that's where I'm at. But what it took me to, I know the things that I was doing, and know the places and the people that where I was around that got me into what I, got into. I changed that. Now, what it was I hung with you and I got in trouble. I'm not hanging with you. So, excuse me, I'm not hanging with you now. I'll see you somewhere and we'll speak, da-da-da. But I'm not coming to get you, or you can't come get me, because you still are in that frame of mind that, I done walked away from. But we still, I'm not disrespecting you, telling you we can't be friends or nothing.
Right.
It's just that I just do my friendship and my association just a little different.
Right.
And then the spots I was hanging out, I had to change, I had to learn to change. I couldn't go to the bars with the young ones no more. I mean, if I do, I go in, have a drink, survey the place, and I'm out.
Yeah.
I couldn't go in there and hang, I know that, because they're in a different mindset.
Right.
I got too much to lose.
Right. You living off experience.
Exactly. So
LOX.
Do I want to go and chill with the youngins and party with them? Yeah. But I know how far to go with that.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I go sit up in PI, S&Ts.
Yeah.
And get in conversation and get information and experience and advice and everything from the elders.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, I learned. I
You
listen.
the elder now.
Yeah. I'm you know, I'm not an elder yet. I'm just
We elders now, bro.
They call us Unc. Remember?
That's true.
You know, they call us Unc now.
Unc and auntie and all that. Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely, my brother.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you sitting with me, man, and just sharing some of your wisdom, man. You know?
Man, anytime, man. And you know, you're an inspiration too, because you've been through what I've been through.
Yeah, I forgot to get C to leave his contact information. So if anyone is looking to contact Carl about Healthy Baby Networks, you can reach Carl at lowercase CARL at HEALTHY-BABY.net. That's Carl at healthybaby.net. Peace. Hope to see you next time. If you or someone you know would like to share their story on this show, or if you'd like to leave a comment or a suggestion, drop me a line at lowercase DrCraigWaleed, D as in David, at gmail.com. That's Dr. Craig Waleed at gmail.com. Thank you. Peace.